Chapter 1, Hate Speech Dragon on Fire. Deconstructing, Dude Looks Like a Lady. Why is the song, Dude Looks Like a Lady, so offensive to the trans community? In the song, Steven Tyler takes more than a peek, proclaiming with surging, mounting lust, oh, what a funky lady, and I like it, yeah. Sort of Richard Pryor, get over it already, can I get a holla? For Aerosmith lives, through Doodle Dad, holla, thank you very much. Birth of an Afro. Colin Kaepernick wears a fake news afro. Have you ever seen a biracial afro that big before? Slash grew it out and it was a total flop. Tit for twat. Hillary claiming half of her destroyed emails as Secretary of State were yoga related is a stretch. The other 15,000 emails detailed funeral arrangements in the woods if Chelsea Clinton's soon-to-be hubby decided to increase his asking price before walking down the aisle at the last second. My wife says it's sexist to make fun of Chelsea Clinton, but she's not even ugly anymore. Plus, I think Alyssa Milano is a nasty, divisive twat on Twitter too. Who trusts Iran? Obama's the one who loves Hitler. Obama wishes he was that organized. Mass extermination of all his pestering, hook-nosed critics who questioned the staying power of Iran's promise to take a time out from building nukes to blow Israel off the planet whenever the mood strikes would be a guess. Can I get a holla? Joe Rivers lives. Not that she ever did political material, but that's for you, babe. Holla. Thank you very much. Overshadowing. Alec again. Haley Bowen stars in Levi's 2020 voting campaign. Whatever it takes to revive Alec Baldwin's sagging sense of purpose since the Blue Balls Mueller report dropped. Imagine her mother, Kim Basinger, winning another Oscar for the remake of A Coal Miner's Daughter, where she actually works in the coal mines themselves before becoming a country music star. Trump tweets, I made Kim Basinger great again, even with a bunch of shit on her face. Educating first graders on dreidel. Anti-Semitism is so hot right now. So I tell my son Arthur, if you play a dreidel game with your friends at school before winter break and it lands on Gimel, put your non-Jewish friends at ease and explain Gimel means give me all your money because we own all the banks in the North Pole too. The Kevin Hart hater. I'm not a Kevin Hart hater, just a short on laughs spectator. The NBA store loves hate speech. The NBA store allowed the sale of these social justice writing messages on NBA jerseys, such as burn Jews, cancel Israel, and kill cops. But they finally allowed the inclusion of free Hong Kong on a throwback Bill Walton Trailblazers one, which still won't make overrated trolls like Patton Oswalt love this game more than his Punisher comic book collection, but pretentious, over-the-hill hipster hobbits isn't the target demographic for the NBA today anyway. Hate is underrated. Hate is good because it motivates you to seek out places where your presence is valued and appreciated, like at a Trump rally, behind your wife's back to make your sex life above average again. Put my man meat in, Indiana MILF. I'm ready to play. Fentanyl made in China. Fuck China. Chinese-made fentanyl has killed more crackers in this country than Lena Dunham kicking it with Taylor Swift on Instagram. Arizona dreaming. Arizona feds seize 45,000 fentanyl pills at the border. It wasn't the spring cleaning Obama was hoping for. For Halloween, I dressed my family as the one from American Dad. I posted a picture of us on Facebook for my parents to see in Arizona, which said, "Build the pool fence." We almost dressed as the Cleveland Show fam, but Megyn Kelly stole our thunder. Democrats are screwed when? Democrats are screwed when they parade Governor Cuomo, the Italian reptilian inside, as a strong enough leader to write a book about his so-called full-free handling of this pandemic when he was the driving force behind killing off the greatest city in the world since he backed turning New York City into a sanctuary city, which has encouraged lawlessness on crack, stymies ICE to get rid of illegal rapists and murderers who don't belong here, by cock-blocking access to the NYPD's database to run background checks, ban bail, in addition to forcing elderly homes to accept COVID patients, knowing Blanche is more likely to get infected from the Chinese black lung than contract a urinary tract infection because no old-timer is getting up to mount her disheveled stink box anymore, let alone for round two, with the advent of Grindr for bi-curious grannies today. Put some Bazooka Joe on it. Joe, Biden can end the pandemic. Will he let doctors who prescribe hydrochloroquine keep their medical license too? Carlin wouldn't have aged well today. I'm glad George Carlin died when he did, because chances are he would have been another glaringly unoriginal Trump resistor comic on the rag, which would have been twice as depressing, knowing how the Donald is the most anti-war president we've ever had, who's not a part of the military-industrial complex club, which Carlin spent the entirety of his stand-up career decrying against. And what was George Carlin so bitter about towards the twilight of his career, knowing his daughter wasn't even given her own satellite radio show on Sirius yet to bore other stand-ups during interviews about their craft through sheer osmosis? Carlin was a working headliner for 5 decades at this point, which was more than you could say for Lenny Bruce, who died a broke junkie, defending himself, who couldn't even afford the coffin he got buried in, which Milton Berle paid for of all people. Plus, Carlin wasn't hurting for cash in his late 60s and could have afforded to bang out some more kids to overcompensate for his dead weight conversationalist of a daughter to brighten up his crabbier days when hearing about tsunamis on CNN wiping out large swaths of innocent life became his go-to form of entertainment. Post fake news. Read all about it. The New York Times, post fake news, says full-time working parents today are more actively engaged with their children and spend more time teaching them than stay-at-home mothers did in the 1970s. So stay-at-home mothers during the 70s slept on the job after being slipped too many Quaaludes while dreaming of Bill Cosby's family-friendly dentist drilling material? I don't get it. Also, I don't want Seinfeld smirking for at least a year until he convinces us how he was clueless about Cosby being a rapist for 4 decades straight. Where were your powers of observation then, Jerry? Indentured servant or homemaker ho? Should stay-at-home moms get paid? If you can afford to be a stay-at-home mom and your husband doesn't bust your balls about it because he's allowed to live his life to the fullest while you don't have to penny pinch at the farmer's market, then keep your white privilege issues to yourself, girlfriend. Should stay-at-home moms get paid? But I thought women love the divine gift of raising superior versions of themselves, planned or not, because of do-it-all dads molding on top. I don't think stay-at-home dads should get paid, but I'm not a fake feminist either. Best friends Israel never had. When you broker a peace treaty between Israel and the United Arab Emirates, dismantled the nuke timeout deal with Iran, and move our embassy to Jerusalem, and makes President Trump more of a Hebrew nationalist, but black Hebrews can't be anti-Jew because they're the real chosen people, according to Nick Cannon. Plus, in Nick Cannon's defense, he isn't another self-hating Jew to manage the post-woke editorial board for the New York Times either. Israel isn't pushover, putsy, sorry. Enough with Israeli aggression. If your sworn enemy, who's been hell-bent on your total destruction since the dawn of time, starts to fire 800 rockets into your backyard, don't expect an edible arrangements gift basket in return with a thank you note written in Farsi. Virgin fever. Why are jihadists so into deflowering virgins? Doesn't jihadi John have enough blood on his hands already? ISIS recruiters are overrated. How does killing the head of ISIS make it easier for them to recruit? ISIS isn't honoring their non-compete with Al-Qaeda. Plus, ISIS recruiters are overrated. All they do is target other lonely virgins on WhatsApp who wish their phones blew up. Farrakhan's favorite Holocaust tweet. How does Farrakhan acknowledge Holocaust Remembrance Day? Does he tweet, "Never forget, all prominent Jews are the devil's people"? But Natalie Portman is all right. Amy Winehouse lives. Has Minnesota rep Babyface Omar acknowledged the anniversary of Amy Winehouse's death as something happened to a horn-hiding Benjamin lover who exploited the great Palestinian songbook for all it was worth? Babyface Omar will work it out. Have you ever seen the picture of Obama and Farrakhan's posse that was hidden for 8 years when he was president? It looks like the picture of Lambda Lambda from Revenge of the Nerds, but more Muslim Brotherhood gonna work it out happy. You'd think Farrakhan just emailed Obama about a rising star of the Democratic Party nicknamed Babyface Omar to your mama Obama at gmail.com. Living through Linda Sarsour. Courtney Love called Linda Sarsour a fake feminist who had no business promoting feminism at the Women's March on Washington because of her support of Sharia law, specifically clitoral mutilation. So if siding with rock badass Courtney Love over Linda Sarsour makes me alt-right, then I'm alright with it. Curb your enthusiasm for Joe Larry. Larry David tells the New York Times, Trump doesn't have one redeeming quality, but at least Stalin had one. Like what, Larry? Bernie's porno reading wing at Queens College on Stalin, Marx, and Che Guevara? Bernie bros before Indigo Girls hose? The serious Seinfeld writer, former Seinfeld writer, Larry Charles, is encouraging the left to arm themselves. Arm themselves against who? MS-13 gangbanger extras in the Fox lot being used for the remake of American Me? Klingon cheesy. Even Jeff Bezos sends dick pics to his lover now. I hear he packs a formidable bulge, but his new lover used to be married to Kansas City Chiefs tight end Tony Gonzalez. So happy denting Ajax man. For a man of his intelligence, I just expected better sexting skills than a younger Kristen Stewart. He sexted, "I love you. I will show you with my lips." His wooing skills don't sound too Klingon cheesy. Plus, there's no way Jeff Bezos tastes good. Ben Shapiro included. Cancel Alexa Bezos. If Jeff Bezos cares about supporting Black Lives Matter, then change the name of Alexa to Monique to make her sound like a less dronish Scarlett Johansson between estrogen throat blocker treatments. Some legacy Goodwill hoodie. Facebook has made baby boomers the most hands-off grandparent generation of all time. Lifting a finger is liking a picture on Facebook. Joan lives. My son asked, "Daddy, why do Harry Potter movies annoy you so much?" I say, "It's too many English accents for me to handle at once. I can handle Ricky Gervais hosting the Golden Globes every other year, but that's it. I'd watch a reboot of the Harry Potter franchise with renewed interest if Russell Brand played Voldemort as a coked-out dark prince of stoner metal who snorted his nose off because he needed a perpetual boost out of the dark gallows of crippling despair for birthing such a pure-blooded, unhuggable cunt like Kelly Osbourne, who killed off fashion police prematurely after teaming up with trans Chucky. Tarantino Liquor. The sample beat maestro, otherwise known as the RZA, from the Wu-Tang, teamed up with a good humor truck team to come up with a new jingle made with love, because the old jingle was using ministry comedy shows where performers were blackface back in the day. But don't dare question the RZA's sudden virtue signaling gesture of goodwill, knowing he had zero problem scoring the soundtrack for Kill Bill 1 and 2, despite Tarantino's liberal use of the N-bomb sprinkled throughout his award-winning screenplay, Pulp Fiction, because the RZA's sterling social justice writing cred ain't nothing to fuck with. Wu-Tang! Wu-Tang! The tumbling tower of truth. Without counsel, plans are frustrated, King Solomon? You mean like not asking my mother if it's kosher to make fun of Chris Matthews on my blog for sexually harassing a new intern at MSNBC? Like the time he said, "Eating out Maddow counts as your lunch break, babe." Death of due process. Are dudes in college today getting charged with aggressive dry humping without due process of any kind? If so, I'm for the female accuser having to look her assaulter's fleshy head wound in the face to see who the real victim is in this case. Semi-automatic love. Today, for a homeschooling project post-corona, I helped my son write a story using the Pixar story mapping method that went like this. Once upon a time, there was a soldier named Gung Ho. Every day, he'd get a new gun because he'd always lose the last. One day, he found all his missing guns. Because of that, he threw them all away except one. Because of that, he started talking to his lone gun until finally Gung Ho married his gun. I had my son name his story Semi-Automatic Love. Can I get a holla for a school assignment story to get my kid suspended from kindergarten for causing more social unrest than I ever did on Twitter? Holla! Thank you very much! Guilty of white Peloton privilege. Low-impact rides on the Peloton bike are off the list because nothing is more disempowering or depressing than your posh-sounding English writing instructor encouraging you to feel good about your upcoming low-impact ride, despite her reminding you every 2 seconds for the next 30 minutes, I never do low-impact rides, like midnight strolls for authentic lamb shawarma through no-go zones in London, but that's just me. CBD oil only. Vermont should change their name from the Green State to CBD oil only, unless you have an in-state medicinal weak card for Trump derangement syndrome. Washington Post included Bernie Sanders couldn't even make Vermont great for potheads on vacation. Pregnant with possibility. Man! This is my impersonation of Ziggy Marley being interviewed by High Times magazine. Reporter says, Ziggy, your father had 12 kids, but I thought ganja drained your life blaster dry. Ziggy Marley replies, fake news, man. Bob Marley lives. To his 12 children. Holla. Thank you very much. Obama bus blues. For 8 years, you never heard anyone blurt out at the post office, I love Obama. Comedy Central executives felt the same way when they re-signed Trevor Noah for the foreseeable future, triggering fake feminists with Ivanka. The best way to diagnose Trump derangement syndrome among women is to let them finish the Trump is the Antichrist lying piece of shit rant with Ivanka 2024, bitches. Then ask, you wouldn't be excited if America elected the first Jewish female president ever? That's what I thought Samantha be. But Ivanka is the fake news feminist, not you. I don't know how you live with yourself, you miserable, feckless cunt. But if you're feeling particularly feisty afterwards, feel free to add, Trump's the Antichrist, but in the Bible part 2, Jesus returns from heaven to defeat him. So have some faith in the Jesus comeback story. Won't you, people? Oh, yeah. You're more religious than me because you're not married to religious dogma and outdated commandments that predate the birth of capitalism, like thou shalt not kill third trimester babies and sell their fetal tissue to enrich abortion for profit giants like Planned Parenthood in the process. Got it. The late night comedy host massacre. Our State of the Union is like Stephen Colbert's Handle and Funny these days. Shaky. It's too bad Bill O'Reilly is no longer important enough for you to impersonate. At least Bill O'Reilly gave Colbert gravitas. If I'm a Trump supporter, it means what? I'm not into my mother as much as... Fuck! If I'm a Trump supporter, it means what? I'm not into my mother as much as Seth Meyers? You freaking hack! Tripping up my flow! I had to depreciate my killer flow for the ages by uttering that hack breath. Hollow! My chest! Fuck you, Seth Meyers! You've ruined everything! Jimmy Fallon's writers hate Jimmy Fallon because after he tousled Trump's hair on The Tonight Show, a real-life skinhead never emerged. You know CNN has no veneer of respectability left when your baby boomer resistor, not my president father, insists to his ultra-opinionated Trump supporter son, I only watch CNN these days for finance news. I reply, yeah, Dad, and I only watch Real Time with Bill Maher for my Bible study group. Did you know Netflix pays more money for entertainment programming than it makes? Because you can no longer afford to pay the great Chris Rock with just one rib. W posting thought leadership tweets on Twitter or having any following or followers for that matter on Twitter who give a shit about what he has to say on anything, especially on how to capture the essence of a maimed Navy SEAL within an oil painting he gave PTSD to, is weird. It's like Jon Stewart regretting his decision to retire prematurely to showcase his post-Obama wokeness on Laura Ingraham, admitting, I should have stuck with shaving and kissing Bruce Springsteen's ass on The Daily Show for a living. Jon Stewart adds, Laura, what I really miss the most is slipping Bruce a new mix of Gary Clark Jr. performances from South by Southwest underneath his dressing room door at The Daily Show before showtime. But in between commercial breaks, I'd always assure Bruce, this doesn't mean I have a crush on you, boss. Last, if Jon Stewart is such a fair-minded, evolved comedian, Then why didn't he bust Obama's balls on the Daily Show for lifting sanctions on Iran? Because they promised to take a timeout from building nukes to kill Israel if the mood struck that day. That's right, Obama explained himself when he told us on Jimmy Kimmel he'd sweeten the deal with Iran by also giving them $1.7 billion in unmarked bills to Ayatollah Khamenei to create more manufacturing jobs for Build-A-Bear to make Iran's economy less reliant on the sale of hair chest removal cream for the Kardashians. Cooling on the Knicks ex-Golden Child. I don't like Jeremy Lin anymore because he's a fake news Christian. If he was so concerned with spreading the light, then take a stand and don't play for the Beijing Ducks, asshole. I'm positive LeVar Ball can start his new tweener league with Lin as the semi-deplorable star in J.R. Smith's eyes. It's not as if Jeremy Lin is hurting for cash. I'm also calling Jeremy Lin a fake news Christian because claiming you wanted to play for the Knicks after insanity, no matter what, is fake news bullshit because I wouldn't after J.R. Smith bitched about the Golden Child hogging the bike lane all for himself. But what really burned me about Jeremy Lin's interview with the New York Post was the total lack of provocative questions, such as, do you really believe Obama was a bowler at basketball in high school, knowing he rode the bench at an all-Asian private school in Hawaii? Or, despite Melo's career resurgence in Portland, do you think he should be the new commercial spokesperson for Tampax tampons because he's responsible for stopping so much flowage? Last, do you think Conan being demoted to TBS makes him feel like a resounding winner inside, knowing NBC deemed him too eccentric nerdy for the Tonight Show's taste? In addition to NBC just being fake news bullshit in bed with China now like the rest, TNT included. Can I get a holla for preaching the gospel a long time? Holla. Thank you very much. The Oliver twist. Jon Stewart minus charisma, a handsome mug, or any parcel of distinguished gray, otherwise known as Bean Breath Oliver on Last Week Tonight, insists the 2-month-old riots in Portland but mostly peaceful, where law officers are being blinded by lasers and ducking Molotov cocktails while protecting the People's Court of Portland from turning into Burning Man meets Antifa on crystal meth. Doesn't Oliver Twat realize America as a whole will never respect his moral authority or comedic commentary again one bit outside of LA, Manhattan, and Westchester County for insisting on demonizing Trump over the cackling Witch of the East and her Lolita Express riding hubby, because America as a whole doesn't embrace cold-hearted, unhuggable cunts unless they used to rock cute sweaters and tell edgeless jokes on daytime TV for a living. But Ellen DeGeneres is another so-called evolved, non-divisive comedian in this age of me good, Trump bad, who befriended W, of all people, because she's pro-Bush all the way, despite him being responsible for pressuring Colin Powell to sell any shell of integrity he once possessed in the search of fake news weapons of mass destruction. Remember? But what does Ellen do with her friend W exactly? Invite Michelle Obama to her house whenever W's in town to play games like Operation Pre-Op Edition? What happens next? W paints a nude of an angry black woman hacking off Portia de Rosie's white privilege clit so Michelle can feel proud of her country again. Attack of the chicken head clones. Unless John Legend is telling me how to tune out his scrunchy-faced wife by rehearsing the sounding pattern of certain Moonlight sonatas in my head while reading about her by mistake online again, I'm not interested in whatever he has to say next about anything. But thanks for the guided meditation tip on how to tune out chicken head chatter in general. Legend. If you decided to knock your wife up for kid number 4, you're the subject matter expert king of chicken head noise cancellation. Come Rain or shine. Procreation solution. New Yorkers are no longer procreating fast enough to replace their dying population. Over-the-hill hipsters can't get it up to port their girlfriends because they're already glued to the couch from another pork-induced coma. Lena Dunham clones want to have sex, but they're not hot enough to impregnate by mistake either. Lena Dunham's encouraged flappy look on Instagram isn't helping. Over-the-hill hipster hobbits aren't getting their girlfriends into the mood for sweet, sticky love either when their ideal workout is picking up the phone to order more pork buns instead. So ladies, if you want your sweaty sex period with your boyfriend to last more than 2 seconds, then stop mimicking Lena Dunham's encouraged frumpiness on Instagram. No man, bi, straight, or gay, is sweating the prospect of missing out on the opportunity to mount the hunchback of Bushwick, who looks like she just swallowed Hipsterville, USA during Restaurant Week. Trust me, kind of sad. Who told Samuel L. Jackson it looks cool to dress up like Spike Lee's grandmother, who identifies as a jazz critic descendant of Sonny Rollins in Tyler Perry's new film, The Uppity Cunt, co-starring Jeffrey Wright, who plays a wannabe OG, sax savant brother, dropout from Juilliard, who plays himself in the latest David Simon joint, after telling his jazz critic brother to blow his crap review of his debt self-produced album, Kinda Sad, up his ass. Whatever works, Woody. Did anyone see Woody Allen's last film about an older-than-dirt creep who bangs a girl half his age? I think it was a prequel called Crimes and Misdemeanors. The early years. Did you know Woody Allen kept naked Polaroid pics of a 9-year-old Soon Yi in his top sock drawer? The only pic missing was Soon Yi crying on the cover of Time Life magazine. Also, if Ronan Farrow is Frank Sinatra's son, and if he really believes Woody molested his kid sister Dylan, then why hasn't Ronan hired a goon from Hoboken to knock Woody Allen on his ass yet? Defending a fake news Catholic. Jim Gaffigan trying to defend Joe Biden's honor is adorable. Would Mr. Ironic Detachment still act so nonchalant boorish if such an upstanding Catholic by name only sniffed his daughter's hair on the hunt for Easter eggs in the White House Rose Garden too? Know your lane, Jimbo, and stick to being an edgeless, wannabe city slicker hick from Indiana. Jared Kushner helped spearhead a peace treaty between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Doesn't your wife write half your jokes? What did you do this year? Write another book of essays about how your kids never give you enough time to sample more jokes on your wife that she's punching up for you in the first place anyway? There's no such thing as Trump derangement syndrome. Anyone who believes in the deep state is a racist dumb hick, and Joan Rivers thought you were jealous-inducing funny. Have you seen John Podesta's pedo art installation exhibit under Google Images? It's enough to make Marilyn Manson blush, you ignorant, blubbery bitch. The second funniest hitman from Queens. It isn't an insult to call the late, great Greg Giraldo a great roaster. Knocking out audiences with one killer insult blast after the last is what he was great at, making Lisa Lampanelli less interesting than Sarah Silverman pretending to be a social justice warrior like Chelsea Handler to downplay their tits' sagging popularity in a post-woke universe where Amy Schumer struggles to be edgy funny in her feeble attempt to show off her unifying, empathetic side without spicing her set with a Mexican rape joke anymore. Plus, true stand-up comedy is a punchline sprint, not a meandering act out with your hands with no hard punchlines in sight like Dane Cook for the past 15 years and counting. And judged by that standard, Greg Giraldo was Tommy motherfucking Hearns. The insult GPS comedian. My Trump voice, GPS, always takes me to a happier place. Turn far left for Turning Stone Casino, Elizabeth Warren's home away from home. We didn't start the fire, Billy. Vice President Mike Pence talking shit about Obama's trade record during a campaign trip at a glass manufacturing company in Pennsylvania. VP Mike Pence says Obama presided over the most expansive outsourcing of manufacturing jobs in U.S. history. He made W look like a serial slacker with his feet hoisted high on the Oval Office desk, kicking it, sipping more coconut water, without sweating your ability to put more God-blessed pot roast on the table. Not even Billy Joel cared enough about your lost jobs during the Obama outsourcing era to mine another gold record out of your easily avoidable misery, for Christ's sake. Sorry, Lord, even Ned Flanders loses his cool from time to time. Billy says he's not a big fan of President Trump, but Billy Joel's greatest hits was lullaby music for 80s Republicans. Plus, there wasn't just busting New Age neo-Nazis from Central Casting to protest in Charlottesville that day. Peaceful protesters who didn't want to see the Robert E. Lee statue taken down were there too. Agitators from Antifa made their presence felt there also, who aren't very fine people in the made-up mythical sense either. Les, how does a member of Antifa respect thy mother on Mother's Day exactly? Take out the trash and move out of her house for good? I thought New Yorkers like Billy Joel had stronger bullcrap detection abilities than this. Or is Billy from Yentibreath country in Long Island? And to quote the wise, God-loving Robert E. Lee, there are few, I believe, in this enlightened age who will not acknowledge that slavery as an institution is a moral and political evil. So why don't you be a good American, Billy, and shine those lights on Broadway on how fake news has become the moral and political evil of its day. Call yourself an Uber home, because I'm assuming your license is suspended, despite New York State giving them away for free to illegal aliens. So the radical left can try to steal another election and make Michelle proud of her country again. God forbid. Sorry again, Lord. The fake news media makes it hard to turn the other cheek. In honor of the great Kid Rock, can I get an amen? I said amen. I said amen. Democrats have no base of reality left. Again, claiming Obama was responsible for Dow Jones highs pre-corona is like saying Nino Brown got Pookie off crack and welfare. Can I get a holla for Gen X dads understand? Holla! Thank you very much! The relentless optimist. What I love about President Trump the most, besides him making bull busting great again, is his relentless optimism and over-the-top salesmanship. If fuckface Fauci told still your President Trump he contracted the HIV virus because the deep state pricked him with the virus in his sleep, like they did to Eazy-E, the next morning at 5:30 a.m., President Trump would tweet, "Do I have HIV? Yes, but my T-cell count numbers have never been stronger."